straight ahead on 12 News. Enjoying one of the area's greatest assets.
It's a national treasure right in our backyard.
The plan to give nature lovers a chance to embrace the mighty Mississippi. Plus a $2 million decision that will help a Brooklyn Park company and others fend off frivolous lawsuits. But first, a former Maple Grove High School teacher and softball coach accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. A former Maple Grove High School teacher and assistant girls softball coach is accused of sexually touching a student.
Jessica Chase is due in court later this month on a fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct charge. According to the criminal complaint, Chase is accused of having sexual contact with a 17-year-old girl while she held a position of authority as a coach and tutor. Chase resigned from the school shortly after police learned of the relationship in July. The criminal complaint says police found a series of text messages that discussed kissing, cuddling, and touching. Police say Chase admitted to kissing the victim and touching her inner thigh. Police were concerned that there could be other victims, but now say that does not appear to be the case.
As a teacher and a coach, we're concerned about students first and foremost. And are there any other students involved in this? And so we want to make sure that that's not the case. We're confident that there's no other students involved.
Chase is scheduled for a court appearance on September 25th. School officials say Chase worked as a math teacher and an assistant softball coach at Maple Grove High School for about 11 months, starting in August of 2014. Before that, she worked for about a year at Wayzata High School with no complaints or disciplinary action against her.
Maple Grove police, meanwhile, are seeking the public's help in locating a missing woman. 37-year-old Candy Delmonico was reported missing on Tuesday. Her car was found Wednesday at Interstate Park on the St. Croix River near Taylor's Falls. Searches by helicopter and on water continued today, but so far she has not been found. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is urged to call Maple Grove Police. A Brooklyn Park police officer who was injured trying to arrest a suspect is out of the hospital and back at home. Officer Mike Plymouth suffered a head injury Tuesday night after falling 12 feet through the floor of an attic. He was called in to help arrest a suspect in Rogers. Plymouth has spent more than a decade with the force, serving as one of the department's canine officers. It's too soon to say whether he'll be able to return to work.
Now to a court battle that's taken 6.5 years. It ended this week with a Brooklyn Park company awarded nearly $2 million in legal fees. Octane Fitness, which designs and builds elliptical exercise machines, spent that much defending itself from what it claimed was a frivolous lawsuit filed by a competitor over 2 patents. Even though Octane won the suit, they were stuck with a big legal bill until they took the case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. In its decision, the High Court changed the standard of what a frivolous lawsuit is, allowing defendants the chance to cover their legal costs.
When we started, we had no thought of, hey, someday we're going to go to the Supreme Court and the law's going to change and we're going to get fees awarded. We were just fighting because we knew what was right, and we did not want to settle, and give this accuser money that we didn't think was right at all.
CEO Dennis Lee says the case should help other small companies take on legal attacks where in the past they might have simply settled the case. Octane Fitness employs about 60 people in Brooklyn Park. Well, you could say Golden Valley's new city manager doesn't let the grass grow under his feet.
Tim Cruikshank finished up his last city council meeting in Anoka on Tuesday night, started work first thing Wednesday morning in Golden Valley. New city manager Tim Cruikshank is on the job in Golden Valley after spending 14 years running the city of Anoka.
Both communities are more mature, aging communities with infrastructure challenges, and trying to keep your city renewed and fresh.
Keeping Golden Valley renewed and fresh is what Cruikshank says he will continue to do. Keeping it renewed by supporting projects like ongoing city street reconstruction and investigating what's next for the aging Brookview Community Center. Then keeping it fresh by continuing to support the redevelopment boom around Golden Valley's major arteries.
Golden Valley has such a stellar reputation. Just to be a part of a community like this, an organization like this, really is appealing to me.
Cruikshank spent his first day on the job learning more intricately about a city he's been familiar with since childhood. He grew up in Maple Lake and now lives in Plymouth. He says Golden Valley feels like a good fit.
Even though it's an already terrific community, we hope to make it even that much better.
Crookshank's first city council meeting will be September 16th.
A new child care center is hoping to open in Maple Grove. The Maple Grove City Council approved initial plans for an 11,000 square foot daycare facility at County Road 30 and Garland Lane across the street from Walmart. The center, called Kitty Garden, would accept children from 6 weeks through pre-kindergarten age. The owner says there are very few child care centers in this part of Maple Grove to meet the needs of families. If approved, it could open next summer.
A developer calls it the single biggest request he gets, detached townhomes for empty nesters. And that is what is now proposed in northeastern Brooklyn Park. Ramsey Properties is proposing 59 detached townhomes for an area northeast of 101st Avenue and Fall Gold Parkway. The development is called the Villas of Rush Creek Trail. Prices per unit are expected to start at $320,000 on up. Association fees would cover landscaping and driveway and walkway maintenance. The Brooklyn Park Planning Commission is recommending approval. Coming up, enjoying the views of the Mississippi River like some have never experienced before.
Then later in sports, Maple Grove gets set for a state football playoff rematch with Eden Prairie as the season hits the halfway point.
But first, light jacket needed. Temperatures barely rise into the 60s on Friday. For the past 5 years, Twin Cities residents have been able to take advantage of a bicycle sharing program.
It's a fun and healthy way to get around town, but as Delane Cleveland reports, the National Park Service now wants to take that same concept and apply it to the state's most famous waterway.
The Mississippi National River and Recreation Area is one of 400 national parks.
It doesn't require a trip to an exotic destination
It's a national treasure right in our backyard.
to experience Mother Nature's beauty.
So we have this right in the middle of the urban Twin Cities area, and we're not taking advantage of it.
This vehicle is going to Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park.
Fully taking advantage of these waters and the pristine surroundings requires local residents to have access to a boat. But it's a luxury many don't have.
And one of the things we've really been hearing from residents, they want better access to the river. They want ways to get out and actually see, touch, feel, smell the river. And right now that's really hard to do, especially when you don't have your own canoe or kayak.
The National Park Service now has a goal to change that with a proposed canoe share program.
The whole idea of what we're trying to accomplish here is to get people to the river without a car and to enjoy the river or to commute by bike, some form of non-motorized transportation.
Thursday morning, the National Park Service and other interested partners gathered for a test run of the canoe share route.
Which I don't know has been done before in a national park, so it's exciting.
The route begins at the Mississippi West Regional Park in Ramsey, then requires the group to paddle 9 miles down the river to Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park,
where we will take out the boats and switch to bikes and ride the bikes back to our put-in point here.
It's the maiden voyage of a program that she hopes will become a permanent fixture on the river starting next summer.
There's a lot of interest and a lot of paddlers in Minnesota and the Midwest, so it's a very popular activity.
Now they just need $150,000 to make it happen.
You don't have to own the equipment. You can just go, get out, be with nature, and have a great day.
Along the Mississippi River, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
The $150,000 price tag would fund 3 stations along the river where people could rent out both canoes and bicycles. They're hoping to get a grant by the National Park Service to help fund the pilot program. Another area under consideration is on the Brooklyn Park side of the river, just below the Coon Rapids Dam.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a scene of the part of the river that way that you probably haven't seen it before.
That's right.
That's right. Well, coming up, some of the most beautiful flowers you'll ever see. We happen to find them in Champlin.
But first, in sports, Park Center looks to build on a big football win. John Jacobson has that, plus Terry Tuma's fishing tip up next.
This could be a good game. I know they kind of have a chip on their shoulder about this one. A team that beat them on their way to a championship.
And always a fun opponent. You kind of figure out where you're at the season when you play Eden Prairie. Maple Grove's 2014 football season ended with a state semifinal playoff loss to eventual state champion Eden Prairie. The Crimson get another shot at the Eagles Friday night. Maple Grove is 2-1. The season opening loss at Osseo has been followed by home wins over Hopkins and Edina. The team is improving and looks a little different than that first game.
Personnel-wise, I think we're starting to get to where we're close to what I think will look like come playoff time. And so, I mean, if you look at the Osseo game to now, I bet we have about 9 to 10 different kids starting in different spots. So we've made a lot of adjustments, and I think we're moving forward.
We started off rough with learning first game earlier than usual in the season. Learning as we go, came back, got a win, got another one following that, so we got some rolling, but we still have to, be fighting for every extra yard and doing the little things to get the wins that matter.
Now the Crimson is putting in work to get ready for Eden Prairie. The Eagles are the 4-time defending big school champions and rarely lose. This is a big challenge and one the players and coaches from Maple Grove are looking forward to.
We've been wanting for a bunch of years now to be playing the best teams we can find, and that's what we got this year. We got the new district scheduling, so we're going to come in and day out, and we know that all these opponents, we can't underestimate any of them. We're going to come in and play hard.
I love playing them. We always have loved playing them. I think every time you get the chance to face them, it's good football, it's fun football, it's the way it's meant to be played, and so every time we play them, it's great. If we could play them 13 weeks, I would. I think it's a great experience.
Maple Grove and Eden Prairie kick off at 7 o'clock Friday night at Eden Prairie. Park Center's football team also comes into week 4 with a 2-1 mark. That includes a very satisfying win last Friday. Pirates whipped De La Salle 35-7. That's after the Islanders had ended Park Center's season last fall, handing them a 61-14 playoff loss. Last week's win also came after a tough loss to a very good Spring Lake Park team in week 2.
Our coaching staff, we just wanted to gauge where we were after a tough loss against Spring Lake Park. So we told the kids all week that this game was going to define our season.
Well, it was real special because we had a really close bond with the seniors that left last year. So we kind of knew going into the game that we need to get this for them, but also for ourselves and really prepare for the season. Because this stretch right now that we're on, we have 3 big games in a row.
The Pirates have another challenging game Friday as they host Armstrong. The Falcons are 2-1, smarting from a loss to Cooper. PC lost to Armstrong last fall, and they know this will be a tough one.
They have a very good team. They got some really good players in Jack Laius and Thomas Barber, and they're just some people that we need to look out for. But it'll be a good matchup, and I think we'll come up with the win.
Kickoff for the Armstrong at Park Center game is at 5 p.m. Friday. We have some great football players in the northwest suburbs this fall, and one of the best had a remarkable performance in that Park Center win last week. Number 3 senior defensive back and wide receiver Amani Hooker of Park Center put together an unforgettable night against De La Salle. Hooker had 3 interceptions and returned 2 of them for touchdowns, including a 100-yard return. The Iowa recruit also had a 67-yard rushing touchdown and a receiving TD in the win.
Yeah, it's something definitely I look forward to doing. I guess it just happened that time. Hopefully I can just keep doing it. I just got the ball and I just ran. I wanted to score, so I guess that was happening. No one happened to be in front of me. So not on both sides. I had it on offense when I was like 6th grade or something like that, but not on both sides of the ball.
Terrific night for him. Well, a cool rush of air hit us this week, and fall is right around the corner. Good timing then for this week's fishing tip with Terry Tuma.
Fall fishing is upon us. A very, very productive time to catch quality and quantity of fish, and that's going to pertain to most species of fish. But always remember, no food, no fish. And so we hear the comment, well, they're bulking up, but there's not going to be enough food source. They're getting ready for winter. I really don't believe in that. There's always food source, but what does happen, one food source will die, another one's going to hatch. So these fish can definitely move from one location to another. And the other big factor is that we have cooler water temperatures. We're talking after turnover time frames. But we caught a lot of bass in dead weeds late fall pad. We caught crappies on sandy shoreline areas, which they're not supposed to be there. So keep an open mind, search for these fish. You are going to catch fish. Again, one of the best times of the season to catch big fish. Sorry to say, this is the last open water tip on Channel 12. We are going to be back in December talking about new ways, new procedures of ice fishing, which is obviously a very growing activity throughout the winter in the Midwest. be sure to tune in for those tips and have a great week on the water and enjoy the fall season.
Thanks, Terry. Not looking forward to December necessarily.
No, that really puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yes.
All right. Thanks, John. Still ahead, colorful flowers as big as some people are tall.
We'll take you to Champlin to show you the beauty when we come back. Well, finally, dahlias are known for their big, colorful blooms.
Although the flowers are ideal for the Pacific coast, they can also be grown here in Minnesota. Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden to show us how.
It's sort of a cathartic experience to kind of come down and relax.
This Champlin home backs up to a hidden paradise.
This is where all the fun stuff is at.
A paradise where you'll find Ryan Karsick,
Yeah.
a member of the Binding Roots Gardening Club.
When you look at blooms like this that are, 8 inches across, they're amazing.
You might say he has a thing for dahlias.
Look at this one here.
He's been growing them for 5 years.
I counted it out this morning. I have 43 different varieties and 54 in total that I planted.
The rows of dahlias look like an artist's palette.
Well, they're huge.
Bursting with every color imaginable.
That's called Diva. Those purple ones are called Diva. Raspberry Punch. This one's called Glamour Girl.
In cold climates, dahlias are tuberous rooted perennials.
After the last frost is up, you can get them in, and then in the fall, you dig up the tubers.
Dahlias are tall. Some reach more than 5 feet, and the blooms are so heavy, you have to stake them.
You could imagine with the weight of these things and you get a little bit of rain on them, they can topple them over in no time.
Besides using fertilizer, Ryan recommends cutting back extra stems to get bigger blooms.
Cut back on some of these stems and stuff that are growing that are pulling energy from the rest of the plant.
While Ryan loves cultivating dahlias,
The best part about it, of course, is in the end when you have blooms like this.
he doesn't grow them for himself.
All of these flowers that you see here will all be given away probably in the next week.
Ryan and his daughter give the flowers to friends and folks at an assisted living facility.
Can you put those ones in there too for Daddy?
He says the pleasure of the blooms lasts much longer when you give them away.
Nothing more than a greater experience than I can think of than watching the looks on people's face when they walk up with one of these huge blooms and give them to them.
In Champlin, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And we experienced that as well because they brought back some for us right here. They're almost as big as my hand. You might be able to tell from perspective.
6 or 7 inches
They're
across.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A few tips that he passed along to make them last longer. Once you cut them, place them in very hot water, and this will make them last for about a week. And change the water out every day.
Change it every day. Right?
Yes. Make sure it's hot.
They're amazing.
They're absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the time you have in your garden.
Right.
Not long.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Community Corner is coming up next.